The book, Lex Lesgever's Nobody Lives Here, is a book that I translated, co-translated. There are many connections with Lex Lesgever and Anne Frank. They were exactly the same age, both 13 years of age, in the same situation with a completely different setting. As many people know, Anne was hidden for 2 years with her family in Amsterdam, and Lex, quite the opposite. When his Jewish family was taken, he would manage to flee and then spend many months on his own, roaming the streets, practically underneath her hiding place. What happens to him is quite extraordinary. He has many scary situations and wondrous escapes, several of them. He's interrogated by the Gestapo. He flees again and again, extraordinary escapes. And it's all described with enormous clarity. You're really practically there. He talks to you in the book. The people that he met and that helped him and sometimes didn't help him, and also the rural village where he ended up, where he finally found shelter. When he was still roaming the streets of Amsterdam, in the end the Dutch underground, the resistance, found him and helped him to go to this rural village in the countryside, where he spent the rest of the war years. He was on a farm and he worked on this farm and he was treated like a son of the family. And so his life was really saved that way. So unlike Anne Frank, Lex was never deported to a Nazi camp. That's almost an impossible question. More remarkable is how long it took him, because he was in his 70s when he actually sat down and wrote his memoirs with an incredible recall. He remembered so many details and he hadn't really talked much about it before. It was his son-in-law that saw all these sheets of paper and said, "You need to publish this." And that's how it happened. The first publication was of course in Dutch, and I'm very privileged to have translated it from the original Dutch. It was most of that work of the translation was done during lockdown, during COVID lockdown, and I was often moved to tears by his words. I have connections with it. I myself grew up in Amsterdam like Lex, but after the war, and my father was a Holocaust survivor, so the town and the situation are very familiar to me. Lex died in 2019, but I've made friends with his daughter Fiti, and she was lovely, and she donated many photographs. There are plenty of photographs in the book, and there's some family photographs that she donated. It's a gripping story of survival. It's probably aimed for kids from about 12 years of age, but all the adults that I know that have read the book find it a completely gripping page-turner. He doesn't dwell on the horrors, so that it for us just reads like an amazing survival story without getting too close to the horrors. Lex Lesgever's memoir, Nobody Lives Here, is a necessary book for our time.